Here I have a partially used ball of yarn that's starting to decompose into a mess. So I want to rewind it into a new center pull ball. See, in the beginning it already was a center pull ball, but because I've used so much of the yarn from the center, it's collapsing in on itself. And I'm done with it. It's not attached to my project anymore. So I want to rewind it into a new center pull ball. I have a handy little tool called a nøstepinde, which is basically a wooden stick. And so I'm going to show you how I will wind my new center pull ball. First, I'm going to take the end of my yarn and make a slip knot. Here we go. I'm going to put my stick or my nøstepinde through it, and I'm going to tighten the slip knot on the under end here where there's a nice little groove. Then I'm going to start by laying down a base layer of yarn like this. Now I have my base layer down, and I'm going to start winding diagonally across like this. In the beginning, when I'm getting started, I'm going to help it out. And then after I get going a ways, I can just start wrapping. So I'm wrapping diagonally from the bottom to the top across. And then as I wrap, I'm also turning the nøstepinde this way so that as I wrap, I don't end up overlying the same place all the time. So I'll wrap to fill in the areas that are empty, and then very slowly turn the stick like this. I've gotten a little ways into it, and you can see the ball is getting bigger and bigger. And sometimes you have a little hiccup, so you just unwind it a little bit and then restart. Keep going. Okay, now I'm almost at the end of my ball. Keep winding here. Finish it up. Now I'm going to untie my slip knot here at the bottom, and then I can just pull the stick out, and you can see there's a nice hole in the middle of the ball, and here's my yarn that I can pull from the center, and it makes a nice little cake, almost like if you did it on a ball winder. So it'll sit flat on the ground and not roll around for you. And there's my happy new ball of yarn. Now, if you don't happen to have a handy nøstepinde in your stash, you can use a basic toilet paper roll. What you do is you make a cut on two sides, on the one side, and anchor your yarn in those two cuts. So I put it across like that through the two cuts. So now my yarn is anchored, and everything else is the same. So you start with a base layer, wrap it around like this. Okay, and then once you have your base layer in, you turn it and then you start wrapping from the bottom left to the top right, diagonal across. And you do it exactly the same. And keep turning as you go around. Wrap, 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 turn, turn, turn. Oh, I'm getting to the end of my yarn here. Okay, there I am at the end of my yarn. And then release it from the two cuts at the bottom of the toilet paper roll and slide it off the roll. Now, because it's a toilet paper roll, it's much bigger circumference inside, which is actually a good thing because then the yarn will collapse on itself and it won't be quite so under so much tension, and it'll loosen up nicely. And now here you have another nice center pull ball, which will sit nicely because of its flat bottom. And finally, I have 1/3 way of showing you winding a center pull ball. This is best used if you just have a little bit of yarn that you want to rewind. And it's what some people call throwing it on your thumb. Now in this case, there's no real way to anchor the yarn on your thumb. So we're going to start just by wrapping it. The thing to remember about winding on your thumb, though, is that you have to make it loose enough because you're not going to be able to turn your thumb around. So instead, we're going to be turning the ball around your thumb. And it has to be loose enough on the inside to be able to turn around your thumb. So what I usually do is I'll start by wrapping it around my forefinger and thumb together, a couple of wraps. And then you want to keep the portion that is going to be the start of your center pull out so that it doesn't wind up inside the ball. And then you're going to wrap very loosely, especially in the beginning. Same thing, bottom right to top left, diagonally across your thumb. Do a couple of wraps, and then when you start to get full, then you do a little turn. And then you wrap some more around your thumb and do a little turn. And then as you establish your little ball here, then you can start to wrap a little bit tighter. You don't have to be as careful because the center part is set and it will turn around your thumb. And you wind like this around your thumb, wrapping and then turning. Wrap and turn. And then always being careful to keep this first piece down, out, and loose so that it is available for you to pull it from the center at the end. There's the end of the ball. Okay, and then you just pop it off your thumb. You have a nice little thumb hole in your ball, and you have your center pull, and you can just pull it right out. And that is really handy for small little bits of yarn. You could do larger bits of yarn, as much as you think you can fit on your thumb. So that, of course, as everything is, knitter's choice. Thanks. Have a great day.